Hi there folks, my name's NovaWin24 and welcome to another little review of an FSX and P3D product. So today we're going to be having a look at the Iris Simulations PC-24 from Pilatus. So, this is well, first of all, before we get started, I want to say thank you very much to the wonderful guys over at Iris Simulations for providing the review copy of this little aircraft today. So, the Pilatus PC-24 is, we're going to get a bit more into it about it once we get into our cruise, but yeah, just so you know, it's currently only a prototype aircraft, yeah, we haven't seen the production model come out yet, so yeah, this is a sort of a what it could look like in service kind of look at this aircraft, so there you go. We'll clear that one out of the way first off. So, alright, first of all, as we usually do with these reviews that I do, first of all, we're going to be having a look at the outside of the aircraft on the ground. Then we're going to be going for a short flight. We're here at Launceston Airport at the moment. And we're going to be flying from here, heading over to Melbourne Avalon, coming in for approach there, and have a look at a few things on the way. Alright, so first off, as I said, looking at the exterior modelling and textures, and quite frankly, they are really, really good. Very, very clean lines, very beautiful looking aircraft. The reflectivity that you get in the textures as well is just absolutely outstanding. It really, really is. And as well, you've got some of the external animations as well, so we've got this beautiful, this sort of, red carpet treatment coming out of the door here, out of the entrances, along with the remove before flight tags, the automatically placed ground shocks as well when you put the parking brake on, and we've got our ground power unit hooked up here as well at the moment, as well as the engine intake covers. So yeah, a lot going on with this aircraft and with this model and the animations, which is kind of cool. So there you go, as I said, and the texture quality is pretty stunning as well, looking absolutely amazing. Alright, so what we might do now that we've had a look at these spectacular external textures, what we might do is we might jump into the office, and we'll go through the startup sequence, and we'll get ourselves underway. Alright, so here we are in the office of the PC-24. So the PC-24 it sort of borrows a little bit from the PC-12's sort of design, but it's especially in the terms that it is designed for a single pilot operation. So everything is very clean, very simple, very easy to use and easy to access, and it relies on a lot of automation to actually sort of take a lot of the workload off the pilot in order to ensure that they can actually operate this, as I said, because it is designed for a single pilot operation, and all that goes with that. So, alright, as I said, the functionality of it is very simple, very easy. So let's have a look here. Alright, so first off, what we're going to do is we've said we've got our ground power unit connected, but what we're going to do is we're going to close up the passenger door. Now, the little thing up the top here, so this is the only shift pop-up that this aircraft has. It's just this mini little thing here, which allows you to add and remove the ground power unit, set it as a ready to fly, or set cold and dark, or open up the rear cargo door. Now, I did not have that open up because it does do some pretty weird stuff when you got ground service equipment there. Alright, so let's leave that one now. So we'll leave our ground power unit connected. Let's get ourselves underway. So speaking of ground power, let's put battery on. Got GPU on and available. Alright, now one of the things, it's very loud, that warning, and then see how I'm going to mute that one. There we go. Let's go. Right, shush you. Alright, okay, as I said, very simple, easy setup and startup sequence for this one. So yeah, it does take a few minutes for the instruments to actually be able to align themselves internally, but in the meantime, let's get ourselves underway. So first of all, we're going to have to get our beacon going. That one on. Put our strobes on as well. Alright, so first off, as I said, we've got our ground power already flowing on. Our cabin lights on. Alright, let's go engine 1. We've seen that one spooling up there. And I think this it does really capture it quite well, because as I said, it's very clean, simple layout. Everything that you need is very visual and very easily acceptable and very obvious here. There we are. Now the instruments aligning, everything coming through. Alright, so now we've got our first engine running. Let's get our second engine underway. Seeing that one spooling up, the turbine being 2, the turbine temperature starting to rise. Excellent. Alright, we'll turn off our ground power now. Remove the ground power units. All the rest of our lights on. Get our generators up and running. There we go. Annunciator board is clear. Excellent. That's what we like to see. Alright. So what I'm quickly going to do is we're going to load in our flight plan. Alright, so we've got our flight plan to Melbourne Avalon all programmed in there. So now we just need to set our altitudes. We're going to be cruising. We're going to be cruising at 26,000 today, just fairly low for this aircraft, because this aircraft is rated all the way up to 40,000, but it's not too far a hop. So let's get this up to 28,000. Alrighty, now in terms of our navigation, so we've programmed the GPS, so the equivalent of the FMC, so we're going to change our nav select over to the flight management system. There we are, all set, ready to go. Okay, we are good. We've got our flaps set to 15 degrees, which is our takeoff flap setting. So we've got everything in the green. Nice to see. Alright, so it's time for us to get a call for our pushback. A little services vehicle getting out of the way there as we see a bit of AI traffic getting ready in the background as well. Nice and bright and clear. I'll be using one for our departure today. That should be far enough for our pushback. Alright. Now, probably one of the things that I noticed early on with this one is that it's something that I notice in a lot of IRS aircraft, is that the ground handling always seems very slippery. Sometimes you feel like you're almost in the flight simulation version of, like, Tokyo Drift or something. Yeah, look, it's not a huge thing, but it is something that I do notice, and it's probably it's a common element that I find with IRS simulation aircraft, is they tend to slide a little bit on the ground. They're very loose. You can sort of see that as I'm sort of shimmying down the taxiway here. Yeah, they are a bit loose when it comes to sort of their taxiing abilities, which is as I said, it's not a huge thing, but yeah, it's something that I do notice on a semi-regular basis on pretty much all IRS simulation aircraft. So there you go. Anyway, so we're takes it down now. Actually, sorry, correction, we're not going to be using 1-4 for our departure today. We're using 3-2 for our departure today. Sorry, I'll just to check the winds. Far more favourable for our departure. Around here. So just doing a final check through the cockpit, everything in the green. So we taxi up to the hold short line. And, oh, yep, you definitely get some of that sliding. You can sort of feel that as we're sort of going on there. Nothing on the runway. Tax turn straight on the runway for a straight out departure. Go. Set and ready. And we are good. Alright. Throttle up. And brakes off. Very agile and sort of departs very quickly. Got quite an impressive climb rate as well. Climb rate of up to 4,000 feet per minute for its climb rate, so it definitely leaps into the air, that's for sure. Start turning onto our departure heading. Aircraft all cleaned up. As we pass through his layer of clouds, let's get our autopilot on. Off those landing lights. Just that vertical speed up a bit, I think. Right. There we go. As I said, yeah, as I said, this is the thing about this aircraft, is that it is designed to be very hassle-free, a lot of automation in it, so a lot of the de-icing sort of systems and a lot of the systems in the aircraft period are all sort of automated. So, you know, sometimes you might be looking for switches and things like that, whereas actually the aircraft is designed to be automated in that regard. So it actually takes a workload off the pilot, so the pilot doesn't have to focus on that, can actually focus on, you know, flying the aircraft. So yeah, a lot of the systems that would normally sort of have extra switches and things like that are all being automated by Pilatus in their sort of aim to make it a very accessible aircraft, and as I said, designed for single pilot operation, particularly in the fact that it is designed not just for the business market, although primarily it was marketed as the business market, but is also marketed into the special sort of systems role as an air ambulance aircraft as well. Alright, so while we're here, let's as we've establishing ourselves on our climb out, let's have a look around the office and see what we've got here. So as I said, very spacious office, very simple office, very sort of sleek and system in terms of its systems as well. Should have turned the no smoking and seatbelt signs on during takeoff. Anyway, all right. So let's, first of all, we've got our primary flight display here. So again, so essentially the whole cockpit is a series of glass panel displays. So your main primary pilot's display here covers off, looking very similar to your old G1000 kind of idea, with the tapes for your speed and altitude and all the things that you're used to seeing as well. You've got a standby systems as well on the left hand side. You've got a standby set of systems over here. And you got your basic engine readouts. Now, unfortunately, these don't change a great deal. Now, you can, as I said, but you can change a few things over here. As I said, so your nav select will change your navigation of which navigation source is being fed into your autopilot. Nav preview is kind of cool. So that enables you to test. So if you're setting up an ILS frequency or something like that, you can actually adjust the course ready for that. HSI over here, so this displays your different HSIs, or whether you actually do it as a full display or just the arc. And then you've got your estimated times as well with your stopwatch that you can set up there as well. So simple, one click to reset, one click to start, another click to stop, another click to reset. In terms of your bush here, so you can actually reset your change your course. So again, for your nav preview, or if you've got your using the nav 1 or nav 2 radios for your display, you can do there, and just other sort of basic VFR identifications and things that you would come to expect on your radio systems. Now, in terms of, you've got your engine displays here, just going through each of these and what they do. Now, your radios here, you can actually go through here, so you can actually select your radios. So go there, click on once to highlight, and allow you to adjust your radios through here. And then, if you need to, once you're ready to swap the frequencies, a push again will swap the frequencies over. One more push will bring them back. So there you go. So simple. One click to activate, and then click to swap over and bring them between the different sets as frequencies. Comms panel up the top here. So which ones are you going to be able to hear the audio from? Moving across to the center primary display. So this one is where your flight plans will be, where you can actually be able to sort of see different things and stuff like that. So this one is I'll probably do this one a bit more when we're up in the cruise, because this is where some of my issues actually have with this one. But yeah, we'll get into it. But this essentially displays your flight plan information on the side here, and then you've got a moving map display on the right. Further down, you've got your warning systems and other basic engineering systems about the aircraft. So it goes through your fuel capacity, estimated times of fuel burns, generators, all the usual fun stuff. And then you've got your actual multifunction display and MCP manipulation panel down the bottom here. One of the great things though is that a lot of this stuff will respond to keyboard entry rather than actual keys. So that's something that's preset by Iris, which is kind of cool, kind of interesting, but can be annoying as well, especially for those of us who like to just be able to push the buttons inside the sim. Anyway, autopilot is fairly basic though, and again, just keeping with the simplicity of the aircraft. You can select your altitude, your navigation, approach hold for your ILS approaches, switch over to heading for that one. VNav doesn't seem to be working that one. Speed hold is a very basic speed hold. The speed hold and vertical speed are incompatible as well, just FYI. So essentially you need to be at altitude when you kick your speed hold in. That's the way they're designed. Otherwise, fully functioning for the rest of it. Your change heading button over here, change altimeter over here. To adjust your vertical speed, click on the vertical speed here, and then click the nose down, nose up to raise your feet per minute rate by 100 feet or more. There you go. Alright, moving down now, as I said, bit of a better view of the secondary panel and the input panel for your MFDs. Across over here, this is the co-pilot's display, just a repeat of the pilot's display panel over on the side. The overhead panel, again, fairly simple, again, basic, as I said, but these are all modelled off the actual cockpit images from the prototype aircraft and from the one that was on display at Avalon at the Australian International Air Show a few years ago as well. So including the liveries. One of the liveries was the mock-up livery that was there at the air show, so that's kind of cool. Yeah, again, basic, simple systems, easy to use, again, designed for single pilot operation, and simple, take a lot of the workload off the pilot. Down here, you've got your throttle quadrants here. So you got your left and right engine throttles because it's a two-engine aircraft. You got your speed brakes or your air brakes here. So you can actually use a sliding scale here, or it will be go from full in to full out. So these are just air brakes slash spoilers, same thing. Flaps, as I said, you got your 4 range settings all the way down to 30 degrees. Lighting control panels on here, so you can actually make it to change the lighting inside the cockpit, and just a couple of some of your. These essentially don't really do a great deal for this one. These they're just sort of they're in here in the sim, but they don't actually really do anything. So yeah, everything's pretty much set to automatic because that's the way the aircraft is supposed to be flown. Just not gonna lie, that's pretty much how it is. Alright, as we continue to head up on our cruise, what we might do is we might have a look in the throughout the cabin. So as I said, this aircraft is primarily designed as a business jet, but with multi-mission capabilities and has been marketed as such. So this Iris have done it in the guise of its business format. So with its sort of 6 seats and a bit of a cargo area at the back. So a bit of luxury, travel here. So it is, I said, a beautiful business jet. But as I said, it has been marketed and sold, and has been purchased by the Royal Flying Doctor Service at least, and possibly another air ambulance service as well, for use of the fact that it is. One of the advantages of this aircraft is that it's designed to work out of rough and unprepared strips. So you'll actually be able to. This is actually designed to be able to operate off gravel and dirt runways. So it makes it more accessible, and it's one of the not many non-military jet aircraft are sort of designed to be able to operate out of such short and unprepared fields. Whereas the PC-24 is. So it's straight wings, a very high lift wing. It's got a stall speed of only 90 knots and a low takeoff speed of around about 110, 120 knots, and quite a short takeoff and landing roll as well. So yeah, it's really very much designed as a bit of a sports car of business, but it also business jets, but also a bit of a utilitarian vehicle as well, in the fact that it does offer such a wide performance envelope in terms of its approach and in terms of its operationable runways. So yeah, quite as I said. But getting back to the modelling, yeah, very nicely modelled, very positive, very positive reviews and looking of this one. I do kind of like the lighting as well. The blue lighting is just kind of cool and actually really well done. I think it really adds something to the experience as well, just seeing this with the blue lighting. Actually, we should actually, speaking of the lighting, let's have a look at the lighting when it's at night, because I think that's when it really comes into its own. So here we are, same aircraft at night, same location, and see what I mean about this lighting. This lighting is just cool. Like, it really does look the part, and I think it's just really cool, really well done, and I think it really sort of captures that sort of business jets, sort of playboy sort of thing about it. I think it captures it really well. And I just think, as I said, I just think it looks cool. Reminds me of like those neon lights under cars. So, yeah, I just think it looks really cool. But it's really well done. The way it reflects on the textures within the sim as well. Really well done. So, I definitely think that this is a cool, nifty little feature. I think it just looks really awesome and really cool. Yeah, just wanted to show that off because I think that's a really good thing to do. And it carries across into the cockpit as well. So you do have this one. So it is this soft, blue lighting with all the displays and everything set up and still glowing quite nicely. Though of course, if you don't particularly want to do that, you do want to have the bit more harsh light, you can sort of turn your dome lights on as well. And will make your cockpit a bit more the white style. If you are not particularly a fan of the blue, you can turn the cabin lighting off and just leave the dome lighting on. Well, while we're here, we'll have a look at some of the exterior lighting. Actually, before I do that, I should turn the light so we can have a look at the exterior lighting while it's all there. So the lighting is quite nice and, as I said, quite impressive and does work quite well with the textures as well. The landing lights, though, are probably the one set of lights that I find a little odd. They don't seem to glow very much. Like, you can't really, like, they're supposed to be LED lights, like intensely bright, harsh lights, and yet externally from the aircraft they don't look that bright. In fact, you can barely even tell that they're on. The green ones are the taxi lights. There should be this like a very faint sort of hazy blue-white for the landing light there. Now, it shines up, but yeah, it illuminates the ground quite nicely from the cockpit. But yeah, it's from the external model of the aircraft, though, it's hard to tell that they're even on. But yeah, we can even appreciate here, you know, we're sort of taking this flight with a full moon, so I was going to switch back to the daytime to be able to show off the textures, but I almost don't have to. But I will. But yeah, it's really, really beautiful textures, and they really, you know, manipulated that lighting very nicely, full bump back textures. Now, speaking of the textures, actually, you know, speaking of the textures, let's switch back over to the daytime. So with these textures, as I said, they're very, very beautiful, but one of the things that I'm really sort of impressed about is the fact that Iris have actually realized, and they've realized that not everybody has a whiz-bang, stupidly powerful computer, and you know, but still want to be able to fly their aircraft. So what they've done is they've included 4096 HD textures, but they've also included slightly lower 2048, or I think 1024 to 2048 sort of 32-bit textures as well. So and you can actually swap between them very seamlessly. And so, you know, if you do find that your system's, you know, struggling a little bit with some of the texture and some of the like the bump mapping and the reflectivity of the textures, you can actually swap the textures over. Now, they've also included 2 different sets of models as well. So they've got one set of models which includes the full cabin that we took the tour through just before, but they've also got a set a model file which doesn't have the cabin. Which actually enables you to have just the cockpit. Now that's really, really cool, because it means that, you know, if you do have a system that maybe can't run things at such, you know, incredible high fidelity or really high detailed models, you still get to enjoy the aircraft without things that you may not actually look at and you know, don't particularly want to see. If you don't want to look back and see the cabin, then you don't have to. You can run the model file that is cleaner and doesn't have the cabin sections in it. So that's a really, really cool and impressive. It's a little utility that comes with the install as well. It's a little texture swapper and model file swapping utility. So it's really, really simple, really, really easy, and just really, really cool. And just like a really neat idea. And that's something that impressed me, was the fact that Iris are really trying to cater for all level of simmers. Now, yeah, as I said, I think that they've captured the single operation and the simplicity of this aircraft quite well. And again, just having a look, as we have a look at these textures in the air, like I said, these are the high fidelity textures, obviously. But yeah, very, very impressive. Just a really, really beautiful looking aeroplane. As I said, really, really cool. This is designed for operating a single pilot operation. You know, designed as a business jet, but also as a utility aircraft, suitable for you know, air ambulance or sort of, you know, short haul as well. But it's designed for the single pilot operation, and able to operate out of, you know, rough, unprepared, and dirt strips, which is pretty much a rarity for business jets anyway. Like, you know, pretty much an unheard of thing for business type jets and, you know, small jets. And pretty much that sort of rough field performance is the exclusive realm of piston and turboprops. But no, this is it gives you the flexibility of a jet, but with the flexibility of a turboprops and a pistons operating envelope. So it's really, really cool aircraft, and just I think it's just a really nicely designed aircraft. I just think it just looks cool. Yeah, anyway. So yes, there we are. All right. Well, that's what we might do is we might break the video here, and then we'll come through as we'll rejoin the video as we come in on approach to Melbourne Avalon, and we'll watch her come here in, bring her in for a landing. Before we come in for our descent and landing, though, I did want to go more. I did sort of say that I'd go through the MFD here a bit more, and And show off, I think, I'm not going to say it's a bug, but it's just something that annoys me a little. Now, for those who follow me, you'll know that FMCs and I are not friends. So the fact that, you know, I can just load in my flight plan that I make in flight control, or that I make in Plan G, I can just load it in here and just use it. It's great. You can set your own flight plan through here as well. You can sort of just do your own, like add your own waypoints and stuff like that in, that's fine. However, it does have a few issues. Like, for example, if I want to delete a waypoint, or if I want to change a leg, I can't actually do that. I can't skip a waypoint. Now, I've gone through the documentation, and it seems to be no way to actually change it. You know, theoretically, you should be able to, you know, in theory, you should just be able to click, you know, one of the buttons here, and just be able to sort of, you know, there should be an option to like delete a waypoint or something like that. But unfortunately, there is no way to delete a waypoint, which is really frustrating. You know, maybe it's not a huge thing, but sometimes it really can be, because of the fact that, you know, it's like, you know, well, like for example, if I'm loading up a long haul, if I set up a multi-point route and I save my flight and I reload it, and I want to, you know, I want to sort of start the route from halfway along, I can't actually do that. I can't, like, say, you know, skip to this particular waypoint here. Like, if I want to shortcut it and go straight to Becca, for example, I can't tell it to do that. Like, that's really annoying. I can tell it to go direct to that, and then, but I cancel the direct to, and then it will take me back to whatever the active waypoint is, you know, in the flight plan. So that's a little annoying. Now, in terms of using the actual MFD here, so it's all controlled from down here. So, for example, if we want to have a look at it, we might just go back up here, and then so we can look down. Okay, so the buttons as well are a little complex to deal with sometimes. So, for example, at the moment, so the blue highlight shows the screen of interest at the moment, so the SOI at the moment. So I've got this one here. Now, if I want to be able to access these little sections at the top here, what I do is I press detail down here on the panel. Okay, and it shows me now that I'm now connected to that. Now, if I want to move across, I can left click to go left, or right click to go right. So flight plan, yep, cool. So this will show me my flight plan that's on there. Geodata, and then if I want to show the terrain, for example, so I make sure that's the highlighted one, and then I hit enter, and it'll now show me an overlay of the terrain over there. Unfortunately, water shows as white, which means that I can't see squat. So, you know, I don't use that so much when I'm flying over water, but, you know, it's there. It would be nice if that's blue, but anyway. So we can turn that one off there. You can also move across and show weather, though it doesn't actually seem to show a great deal of weather. Go there. Alright, and then if I want to go across one more, then I can turn my TCAS on as well, so so what that'll do is that'll overlay any traffic that's near me. So I can see that, for example, there's a Virgin Australia flight just above me over there, so I've got the speed and all the information there. So there you go. So that's that one there. Now, if I want to get back out of that, I press detail again, and that'll unselect the top panel. Now, scrolling up and down, that'll change the range settings. So, for example, we can set that to 25, so we can see a bit further on, a bit further out, and you can scale it up to 100 nautical miles. You can see the flight plan there, got TCAS and everything, all overlaid there. So nice and showing that one there. All right, now in the just go back to the detail for a second again. So with the aeronautical there, so we'll hit enter there. Nope, don't hit enter there. Roll the mouse wheel for the up down, so you can go through and you can display different sections on there. So you can show you VORs, NDBs, intersections, airways, high, low, and airspaces. So you can overlay all the stuff that we're used to seeing in like the standard GPS units. You can overlay all those, all that detail can be overlaid into that as well. So yeah, kind of cool. All available there. But as I said, the issue comes down with the fact that so click left and it'll make the flight plan active. But unfortunately, this is really not much to it. Like, there's, you know, I can go, if I try and go, for example, if I try and go detail, for example, yeah, it'll give me the list of my legs remaining. And, you know, could we go performance initialized, weight, and all the stuff that you're used to seeing in FMC, but they're not accessible. So the FMC part of this hasn't been modeled. So now I'm perfectly okay with the FMC part not being modeled. You know, you could always use a third-party FMC if you desperately want to. But the issue I have is the fact that I can't, you know, go in and edit and delete those legs. You know, that is kind of annoying. That is really kind of annoying. It seems to be more designed to be able to sort of enter your flight plan into the flight management system, like in the aircraft, rather than using a preloaded flight plan. So yeah, it's just a little annoying, and just something that I think it could have been done better. I think is the bottom line. I think it really could have been done better. Just, yeah, it's I don't have a lot of bugbears with this, but that is one of them, and one of the ones that I feel this really is just a little bit frustrating that they chose not to actually sort of do it properly. So yeah, anyway, but yeah, that's as I said, one of the only sort of issues that I have. Otherwise, down here you do have like your direct to button. Com nav transponder, these will actually all then activate your actual main PFDs for your com radios, because activate com 1, nav 1, and or your transponder as well. Now, speaking of transponder, if you want to be able to change any of these, you do actually have to hit clear first. Sorry, wait, is that right? No, wait, no, hang on. So yeah, you go clear first, and then you can punch in the transponder code that you want to use. Oh, sorry, delete, clear, and then delete. And then we can go 3, 4, 3, 4, and then enter to set. There you go, done. So yeah, as I said, it does handle using the clicked interfaces. Though with the actual these keys, it does prefer you to actually use your keyboard. So yeah, just FYI. So there you go. Anyway, as I said, it's not a huge bugbear, but it is a little bit of a bugbear that I do have, and I think it's a bit of a shame that they chose to do that the way they did. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a shame. Could have been done better. Anyway, but small bugbear. Don't have a lot of them, but yeah, that's probably my real major one with it. Anyway. Alright, okay. Now that I've got that one out of the way, now let's cut through to me on final approach into Avalon. Alrighty, so here we are coming in on final approach to Avalon Airport here. I'm just going to switch my nav over to the ILS, which I've got dialed in. So we're on the straight. We're a little bit above the glide slope though, so we're going to get down to that one. Back up the throttles a little. One notch flaps. Gear travelling. Oh yeah, we've got our lights on. Still a little high. Now I am flying this one on stick for this approach, not using the automatic, not using the autopilot to guide me in. There was a patch to fix, there was an issue with the ILS locking system with the Avionics that Iris identified, and they did publish a patch to fix it, but I'm finding that it's still a little off. So as I said, the aircraft overall is pretty good. I think there's just still a few sort of bugs with the Avionics, I think, at the moment. As I said, I've got a couple of bugbears with the various things, but like we were just looking at the display before. Up that glide slope a little bit. A bit below the slope now. I'll bring it about 115, 120 over the fence.
500.
Looking good. Oh, a little below the slope. That's better.
Minimums.
And one thing that's with the big wing, is the big straight wing, is it just has a tendency to flare a little bit on landing. So you've got to watch that one as you come in. Power off.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Down safely, spoilers out. One thing she does is she does stop on a dime. That is for sure. Very nice. Very smooth. Yes, I did find when I was testing it out that there is still an occasional issue with the ILS. Like if you use the approach mode of the autopilot, it'll get the glide slope most of the time, but it won't maintain it. So I think there's still a little work to be done on there. But still, you know, it'll do it. You know, about a third of the time will be fine. Sometimes it just seems to miss the. It'll lock the glide slope for a little while, and then it will sort of like lose the glide slope. But anyway. Alright, we'll taxi on down to the ramp, and I'll give off my final thoughts of this little biz jet here. Still got that little bit of the skewing of a little bit of the rollers as we're taxiing along. Mind you, we are taxiing a little fast this time, so that's probably also not helping. Take my spoilers away. Alright, let's just slot ourselves in here. There we go. And parked nicely. Alright, brakes on. Alright, let's go do the shutdown for this one. Alright. Thank you. Flaps up, everything done, everything winding down. Closing off the generators. Door open. We'll open the cargo ramp as well for that one. And we are done. Alrighty. Alright, so final thoughts. Alright, Well, it is a beautifully detailed, visually very, very impressive model. The overall flying characteristics of the aircraft, I think it's captured it quite well. In terms of variants, you get two main models, with two main variants with this one. You get the what's envisioned to be the production version, which is one we'll be flying in today. You also get the first flight aircraft and the prototype aircraft with a couple of extra avionics. And testing apparatus attached to the airframe. As well as that, you do get the two different versions of the model, where you get the one with the cabin and one without. So, and then you get the textures versions as well. So for catering for lower end systems as well. So in that regard, I'm tempted to. I pretty much recommend it just based on that. The fact that it is a scalable solution based on your system. Now, it does have its bugs. As I said, it's got a few avionics bugs. It's frustrating that the flight planning and the adaptation of the flight plans and stuff like that are limited from in cockpit and quite challenging. It does face that issue. The ILS sort of localizer approach hold, that still has a couple of gremlins in there. But look, I don't think it's enough to detract from the experience. As a value for money purchase, this is an incredibly good value. It's a very affordable, in my opinion, I think it's a very well done version of this aircraft. Now, I said, yes, I know this version isn't actually in major use at the moment. It's primarily sort of a prototype aircraft, but it's just said it captures the essence of the aircraft very, very well. It flies very, very well. It handles quite nicely, and as I said, those small bugbears are not enough to detract it from the aircraft that it is, and from this amazing production that Iris have produced. As I said, the fact that it's got it's a scalable solution no matter what sort of system that you have that you're flight simming on. Is a really, really impressive feature of this one as well, and I think it's a great addition. And I think more developers should actually pay attention to what Iris have done here, and given us that scalable solution based on what we as the virtual pilot actually fly with. So I think that's really cool. So yeah, overall, I think it's a really great add-on, and highly recommended from me. I think it's a really great add-on despite its bugs, and I would recommend it to absolutely anybody for your outback. And that's the other thing, is that the fact that it's a flexible aircraft. It will operate quite comfortably on from a major airport as it will from a rough strip in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, highly recommended add-on. Alright, so thank you very much for joining me. Once again, I do want to say thank you very much to Iris Simulations for providing the review copy of this one for my review, and this for your visual enjoying pleasure today. And don't forget, folks, as always, to like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying these videos and want to see more. And of course, as always, if you can always catch up with me and all the things I'm up to between videos by finding me on Facebook and on Twitter. Just search NoBoeing24. Alright, folks, thanks very much for watching. Take care, safe skies to all, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.